Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome back to the basement. Alright, I have not been feeling too well, so I haven't done much lately. But what I'm about to do is something that I wanted to do for a bit, and that is I want to turn this record over and listen to the other side. So, I'm not holding the mic. So, this is a turntable. Yes, it is. So, it is spinning, it is on the right speed. I'm going to turn on the Commodore monitor. Make sure it's all happy. I'm going to lower the arm. And here we go. Welcome to the magic.
When Sam Small joined the regiment, he was nobbut a raw recruit, and they marched him away one wintry day, his musket course to shoot. They woke him up at the crack of dawn, with many a nudge and shake. He were dreaming that Sergeant had broke his neck, and he didn't want to wake. Lieutenant Bird came on parade, and chided the lads for mooning. He talked in a voice like a pound of plums. His tonsils needed pruning. Move to the right by force, he said, crisp-like, but most severe. But Sam didn't know his right from his left, so pretended he didn't hear. Said Lieutenant, Sergeant, take that man's name. The sergeant took out his pencil. He was getting ashamed of taking Sam's name, and was thinking of cutting a stencil. Sam carried a musket, a knapsack and coat, spare boots that he'd managed to wangle, a hatchet, a spade. In fact, as Sam said, he'd got everything bar kitchen mangle. March easy, men, Lieutenant cried, as the musket range grew near. March easy, me pushing Aunt Fanny, said Sam. What a chance with all this here. When they told him to fire at 500 yards, Sam nearly had a fit. For a 6-foot wall or the Albert Hall were all he were likely to hit. He had fitted a cork in his musket end to keep his powder dry. He didn't remember to take it out the first time he let fly. His gun went off with a kind of pop. Where his bullet went, no one knew. But next day they spoke of a tinker's moke being killed by a cork near Crewe. At 300 yards, Sam shut his eyes and took a careful aim. He failed to score, but the marker swore and walked away quite lame. At 200 yards, Sam fired so wild that the sergeant feared for his skin, and the lads all cleared into the neighbouring field and started to dig themselves in. Oh, Sergeant, I hear a scraping noise, said Sam. What can it be? The noise that he heard were Lieutenant Bird, who were climbing the nearest tree. Oh, Sergeant, said Sam, I've hit the bull. What price my shooting now? Said the sergeant, a bull, you gormless fool. Yon isn't a bull, it's a cow. At 50 yards, his musket kicked and went off with a noise like a blizzard, and down came a crow, looking fair surprised, with his ramrod through its gizzard. As he loaded his musket to fire again, said the sergeant, don't waste shot. You'd best fix bayonets and charge, my lad. It's the only chance you've got. Sam kept loading his gun while the sergeant spoke, till the bullet peeped out at the muzzle, when all of a sudden it went off bang. What made it go off were a puzzle. The bullets flew out in a kind of spray, and everything round got peppered. When they counted his score, he'd got 8 bullseyes, 4 magpies, 2 lambs, and a shepherd. And the sergeant for this got a DCM, and the colonel an OBE. Lieutenant Bird got a DSO, and Sam got 5 days CB.
The magic of early comedy.
Number 24 State, Private Samuel Small, were up before his captain to explain away a brawl. The captain said, "Now state your case, but please be short and brief. Tell everything that happened to the best of your belief." "Well now," said Sam, "it's like this here. Me and some other chaps had a little celebration, and a drink or two perhaps. It happened to be my birthday, and on counting out I found I'd got enough out of me pay to have 1 each apiece all round. We drank 'em up, no heel taps, and then the same again. Here's a health unto His Majesty, we sang Long May He Reign. With chorus after chorus, we made the walls resound. And then to keep things going, we had 1 each apiece all round. It were nearly time for lights out, and getting rather late. We had no money left for drinks, so we put 'em on the slate. Suddenly, out went the lights without the slightest warning. We all trooped out, but not without a bottle for the morning. Across the barrack square we went, as bold as any gentry. It was a lark when in the dark we come across a sentry. "Oh, who goes there?" the sentry cried. We firmly stood our ground. "It's only Sam," I cries, "and we've had 1 each apiece all round. We've been got into the barrack room and started to undress. Just then our sergeant came along, straight from the sergeant's mess. We shut the door, sat on the floor, we never made a sound. And to finish up me birthday, we had 1 each round. "Well, Private Small," said Captain, "I shall have to punish thee. For this grave misdemeanor, you will get 10 days CB. 10 days CB, said Samuel. "That's heavy, I'll be bound." Said Captain, "Split among your pals, it's 1 each apiece all round." You've heard of Samuel Small, perhaps, a lad of bulldog breed, saved his sergeant major's life, a most unusual deed. At Waterloo he fought and bled, and when the war was won, the king a medal struck for Sam because of what he'd done. So Sam came up to Palace Gate in famous London town. A sentry in a Busby hat was walking up and down. The sentry stopped and looked at Sam. "Excuse me, mate," said he. "Might you be Private Samuel Small?" And Sam said, "Ah, that's me." "Well, go on in," said sentry, quick, and gave the gate a slam. "King's got a medal there for thee." know he has, said Sam. Well, Sam pushed open Palace's door and stood in holy hush. Found himself inside a room, all marble busts and flush. Archbishop in a red cocked hat and breeches white and blue. It is your name, Sam Small, my lad? It is, said Sam. How do? Don't loiter then, says Bishop Sharp, like nursemaid wi' a pram. The king's got medal there for thee. I know he has, said Sam. Upstairs, Sam met Prime Minister, a top hat on his head. His trousers, they was velveteen. One leg was blue, one red. He glanced at Sam all haughty like, and asked him, might you be a man called Private Samuel Small? Sam said, aye, that's me. Well, don't keep king all night, he said. Surprised to see I am. He's got thy medal there as king. I know he has, said Sam. But when Sam came on king and queen, he saw he couldn't smother. But there sat king, one hand held sword, and scepter was in front. Sam grasped the situation like in less than half a jiff. He gave a very smart salute and knocked his axe skew with. That must be Samuel Small, said King. That's right, said Sam. I am. Well, I've a medal here for thee. I know thou hast, said Sam. Don't be impatient, Sam, says King. Before 'tis handed you, there's certain grave formalities which must be gotten through. These granted Samuel Small, the king began to read, for saving Sergeant Major's life, a most unusual deed. Dragged him to safety under fire when serving in the line. Now tell me, Sam, how came you to this deed so brave and fine? Well now, said Sam, 'twas like this here. That Sergeant Major come towards our trenches very drunk, a waving jar of rum, and just as we was letting forth a loud triumphant shout, a darn great gun, excuse me, went off and laid him out. I rushed and grabbed the precious jar. He seized me round the tongue. Your pardon. So he got saved, as well as jar of rum. But if there'd been no rum, said King, though death might sound his knell, thou wouldst have done that same brave deed. I would, said Sam, like hell. You hear that, said King to Queen. Said, indeed I did. Don't give him ruddy medal then. And no, they never did. When a lad's been drummed out of the army, he's an outcast, despised by all men. I'd rather be shot at dawn any old time, because I never get up before 10. Once I were drummed out, though today I'm a hero, with all that a soldier could wish. Aye, once poor old Sam stood before a court-martial, with head bowed in shame and anguish. And the old colonel said, when he heard the charge read, it's a terrible crime, Sam, said he. And the whisper went round, has old Sam been a traitor to his and his country? Nay, nay, I was charged with a crime worse than that, far more dastardly wicked and mean. I was charged with maliciously putting cold water in beer in the sergeant's canteen. And the colonel's voice shook, and he swallowed a lump, and he said, nay, come, easy at beer. Good beer is the lifeblood of our glorious army. Our battles was all won on beer. What have you got to say to this terrible charge? I said, now, said, now. He said, can't you see out for now? I said, no, now. Well, he said, Sam, then you'll be drummed out. Next morning, the company lined on parade. I stood at attention quite stiff. Then the sergeant stepped forward and knocked off my pillbox. And worse, he untied me quick. Then he pulled out his sword and cut off my coat buttons. Them buttons fell blink on the floor. But when he began on my trousers, I said, don't lower my prestige anymore. Then he pulled off my medals, my 25 medals I'd won out in different parts. But I said to him, boy, give me 2 of them back, because I won them there too, playing darts. Then the drums and the pipes played the Rogue's March, and the colonel he sobbed and said, Sam, you're no longer a soldier, I'm sorry to say. Sam, you're a dirty old man. And soon I was outside the old barrack gate, with the tears rolling all down my face. Then up rode the colonel's young daughter, God bless her, the pride of the regiment, our Grace. She said, what's to do, Sam? I said, what's to do? I'm drummed out, lass, for watering beer. Then she fell off her horse, threw her arms round my neck, and said, Sam, you poor innocent dear. Then she rushed to her father, the colonel, and said, say, Papa, I'll hand you the dope. Poor Sam here is innocent. I did the deed. I was told to by my band of oak. Then the colonel said, Corporal Sam, please come back. I said, nay, I've just been drummed out. Then the colonel said, Sergeant Sam, please. I just shrugged and said, now, doing, now. He said, Lieutenant Sam, go, forgive and forget. But I stamped and said, nay, be gone. Then he said, Captain Sam. I said, Captain, tut. Make it major and then I'll clock on. And that's how I won my commission, me lad. A commission I think I well earned. 10% on the beer, 10% on the stout, and the pennies on bottles returned. And the regiment gave me a tankard inscribed with these words, which I'm proud of, I am. Presented by 1st Lancashire Fusiliers to their champion liar, Old Sam. One evening at dusk, as Noah stood on his ark, putting green oil in starboard side lamp, his wife came along and said, Noah, something's wrong. Our cabin is getting quite damp. Said Noah, is that so? Then he went down below and he found it were right what she said, for there on the floor quite a puddle he saw. It was slopping around under the bed. Said he, there's a hole in the bottom somewhere. We must find it before we retire. Then he thought for a bit and he said, aye, that's it. A bloodhound is what we require. So he went and fetched bloodhound from place where it lay. Between the skunk and the polecat it were. And as things down below were a trifle so-so, it were glad of a breath of fresh air. They followed the hound as it went sniffing round until they located the leak. It was a round hole in the side about 2 inches wide where a swordfish had poked in its beak. By gum, how the wet squirted in through that hole. Well, young Shem, who at sums was expert, worked it out on his slate as it came at the rate of per gallon, per second, per squirt. The bloodhound tried hard to keep water in check by lapping it up with his tongue. But as that were no go, he went up to the hole and shoved in his nose for a bung. But the poor faithful hound, he was very near drowned, and they dragged him away none too soon. For the fountain as rose worked its way up his nose and blew him out like a balloon. And then Mrs. Noah shoved her elbow in the wool and said, it's stopped, I believe. But they found very soon as she altered her tune, 'cause the water had gone up her sleeve. Then finding her elbow weren't doing much good, she said to Noah, I've an idea. You sit on the leak, and by the end of the week there's no knowing whether may clear. Noah didn't think much to this idea at all, but reckoned he'd give it a try. On the old down he flopped, and the leaking all stopped, and all except him were quite dry. They took him his breakfast and dinner and tea, as day after day there he sat, till the storm had all passed, and they landed at last on the top side of Mount Ararat. And that's how old Noah got them all safe ashore. But ever since then, strange to tell, them as helped save the ark have all carried a mark. Aye, and all their descendants as well. That's why a dog has a cold nose and a lady cold elbows. You'll also find, if you enquire, that that's why a man takes his coat-tails in hand and stands with his back to the fire. I'll tell you the story of Jonah, a really remarkable tale, a peaceful and humdrum existence he had, till one day he went for a sail. The weather was fine when he started, but later at turn of the tide, the wind started blowing, the water got rough, and Jonah felt funny inside. When ships started pitching and tossing, Joe tried hard his feelings to smother. At last he just hung his head over the side, and one thing seemed to bring up another. When sailors saw what he were doing, it gave them a bit of a jar. They liked to see trippers enjoying themselves, but thought this here were going too far. Said one, is there naught we can think on to stop you from feeling so bad? And Jonah said, lift me over the side and chuck me in, there's a good lad. The sailor, he weren't one to argue. He said, happen you know what's best. So he picked Joe up by the seat of his pants and chucked him in as per request. A grampus came up at that moment, and seeing as Joe were hard set, it swam alongside him and opened its mouth and said, come in, lad, out of the wet. Its manner were kindly and pleasing, as if to say RSVP. Said Jonah, I've eaten a kipper or two, but I never thought one would eat me. The inside of Grampus surprised him. For the first time he'd been behind the scenes. He found accommodation were ample for one, though it smelled like a tin of sardines. They went cruising over the water, and Jonah were filled with delight. With his eye to the blowhole in Grampus's head, he watched ships that pass in the night. I'm weary of watching, said Jonah. I'll rest for a minute or so. I'm afraid as you won't find your bed very soft, said the Grampus. I've got a hard row. A whaleboat came up at that moment. Said Jonah, what's this here we've struck? They're after my blubber, the Grampus replied. You best hold on tight while I duck. The water came in through the blowhole and caught Jonah's face a real slosher. He said, shut your blowhole. And Grampus replied, I can't, lad, it wants a new washer. Joe tried hard to bail out the water, but found that his tasks were in vain. For as fast as he emptied slops out through the gills, they came in through the blowhole again. When at last they came to the surface, Joe were reading his accident policy. He put down his reading and took a look out and found they was grounded off Wallasey. Said Grampus, we're in shallow water. I've brought you as far as I may. If you sit on the blowhole on top of me head, I'll spout you the rest of the way. As Jonah obeyed these instructions, the Grampus's lungs did expand, then blew out a fountain which lifted Joe up and carried him safely to land. There were tears in their eyes when they parted, and each blew a kiss, a real big un. Then Grampus went off with a swish of his tail, and Jonah walked back home to Wigan.
Hello. And so, that is a number of stories by Stanley Holloway and his famous adventures with Old Sam and the Ramsbottoms. It's a record. See, that's the album. There's the back of it. And as I said earlier, I know that my grandfather used to do some of these things. And somewhere they might be on tape. I remember specifically one that was on the other one, the previous one. It was called Albert and the Lion. All right. So that is that. Now, I moved a few things here. Which may not have been wise. There. All right. Let's see here. Ooh. Sorry, I think I'm gonking the microphone. Huh. Okay. You know what? I can't find the record that I want. So maybe I'll just put that down for a second. Maybe it's on the top here. Nope, it's not. It's not. What have I done with it? Ah! All right. Let's see here. Come on, you. Don't give me a hard time with this cord. I think I'm going to try. Come on. Oh, I see. It's stuck under the monitor. Okay, I'm going to try and put this up here. There we go. And look. Aha. All right. So, this is the next one I want to play and record. Oh, yeah. The First Family. And I'm suspecting this is a spoof of political things, the Kennedys, etc. Let me just look at this record here. Scene 2, Scene 3. Side. Scene 1. Which? Act 1. Okay, this must be the front. Excuse me. Let me just have a look here. Alright. Got to put the plastic back inside of here. Help keep the record lovely and in good condition. But it's, well, you know what, I'll just stick it in for this second. The jacket is already a little wonky. So what does this say? Act 1. Yes, it is Act 1. You know what, I'm not pleased. I am not pleased with this thing that went in not so well. Ooh, look, you know what? This one, it actually is shaped to be on the record. Most of them are just square. All right. There must be, well, of course, there's a trick to this to have a record in it. Oh, come on. You know what? I'll just set it over here until I put the record back in. Anyway, so the next time I record, it will be this first family record. But I'm not going to do it right now. But I've got much more to do here. I've got stacks and stacks of records to go through. And I am looking to find a better way to do all of this. I am. And a more interesting sort of thing to look at. I was thinking I might even put the camera up on top of here and have it just watch the record go round and round. So we'll see. We'll see what we see. Until next time. Oh, when we record some more. Oh, we will see you again. It's such a tight thing down here as I continue to declutter in the basement. Thanks for coming. Have a lovely, lovely day.